That's what I think is so interesting about platforms like Patreon, because it subverts the whole nature of what the attention economy has kind of created. Like, yes, you do need somewhat of a following, but, and this is something I wanted to mention a bit earlier, but the concept of 1,000 true fans, I think, is super relevant now more than ever. Have you read that piece?
Yeah. Isn't that where like the 1,000 true fans would spend like, was it $1,000 on you?
Yeah,
per year,
pretty much.
that, and you make $1 million, something like that.
Crazy. Yeah, and that's the perspective shift that I think is necessary now more than ever. I think Patreon features a lot of people in their newsletters as well as on their page regarding people who have 10,000 followers on YouTube, but they're making $3,000 a month through Patreon because they're uploading a secret podcast or they're uploading deleted scenes or whatever it is. I know you recently posted on your YouTube about whether or not people support people on Patreon. Does that mean you're considering a platform like that to take things in the future?
I was looking into it. I think I read a similar article that you read. And I think it was mainly because I was feeling tired of like always thinking about the algorithm. Like the last few videos I posted, or 3 videos I posted, were like quarantine updates where I had people send in videos from all over the world, kind of giving a brief update of what their situation's like. Analytically, they performed not that great. And based off like how the YouTube algorithm works, in a sense, like I know that it harms me in the future. And I think that sort of like made me like frustrated with like how YouTube worked, and like I just wanted to be able to post content without thinking about an algorithm. And somehow I stumbled upon just thinking about Patreon again. And then I was curious to see, like, because I know my audience demographics relatively young for the most part. So I was like, how many of you guys like actually use it and support people on it? So I did a poll, and I think it was like maybe 8% of people. Maybe I think I got like 2,500 responses. But I think it's definitely like where I hope things go in terms of like content creation in the future. Because I think the algorithm's annoying, and it definitely like curates sort of like a lot of what media is being put out there, which I think is an issue. I think we're moving away from that with like platforms like Patreon. And that's what I'm really excited about in the future. It's just people being able to create what they want to create without having to think about an algorithm. So I think that's one of the most tiring things.
Definitely.
You know, like, will the algorithm like this? Like, I hate that.
Yeah.
So I love what Patreon's doing, and I think that's awesome.
I think the CEO, Jack Conte, is the most interesting guy. Like he,
I mean, you probably watched his video with Casey, right?
His video will stand in my brain as possibly one of the most creative videos, because not only did he do the whole, filming and everything, he made his own music and he puts it in there. And like yesterday, Joey,
dude, I was like, I'm pissed off. I'm not paying for something. I'm not like using somebody's like danky royalty-free music for the beginning of our podcast intro. I'm creating our own music, like whatever. Hopefully my like middle school viola lessons help me, you know what I mean? Like,
and he did it. Like he took 30 minutes. He had GarageBand out, and he like made a lo-fi type beat. And I have to say, I really liked it, and I was very impressed. But Patreon, I think YouTube's trying to catch on to that as well with their YouTube membership to like channels.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? I know some creators have started doing that. Do you like that YouTube's moving there, or do you prefer Patreon still over that model?
I think it's cool. First off, I'm too young to join it. I think I have to be 18.
Really?
I think I have to be 18, yeah. So that's unfortunate. But I really like that. So I think it comes back to sort of like joining a community. I think that's really like in our deep nature. I think if platforms, social media platforms in general, can move towards that, I think that's awesome. Like, I think it really kind of moves things away from the algorithm, like I said, which I think is probably one of the most important things in terms of like what's going on right now.
True. But it seems
so
like
I love that 100%.
It seems like like YouTube, not YouTube channels, but like TV channels, right? Like you have to pay for it, like a subscription, or like Netflix. You have to have a subscription to watch, like, I don't know, House of Cards or The Lion King. I don't even know. What was
like
that
Disney Plus and Netflix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It seems like, that those forms of entertainment, there's a downside to it, and that's the democratizability. Like, sure, if you have $12 a month, that's cool. Go watch as many movies as you want. I'm not against that. But for the dude or the family who doesn't have that money, like, do you see any minuses in that, especially in terms of like restricting your content
behind a paywall?
Yeah,
basically.
behind a paywall.
Yeah. I think I like how Patreon has it in terms of like as an option, like it's sort of like a bonus, like a tip. I like to view it as that. Never want to have my videos behind a paywall, but sort of that thing is like, if you are fortunate enough to be able to be like, oh, like I enjoy your content, Max, I want to support you, I'll give you $20. That's awesome. But like, I never want it to be a point where it's like, oh, you don't have the money, okay, you can't watch my videos. I think that's sort of messed up. So I think it's nice to have it. It's sort of like, I was thinking of creating some tiers or something like that, where like, I'm not going to spend money on my camera gear anymore because like it is what it is. And I don't really value, like I'm not going to spend $2,000 on a new camera. Right. But like creating maybe like a membership where like, okay, if you want to pitch in money to help like improve my camera quality gear or like my gear, sure, you can support me through that. And like my videos will upgrade in quality. But it's not like you don't have to do that, but it's there if you want to. I think that's sort of the best model. I don't know. I'm definitely like thinking about it.